So, good evening, everyone. It's been 1 p.m. and today we are solving the two question on lead code. So let's see. One is 1456 question and 1456 question, and another one is 1553 question. So in first question, we see that maximum number of vowel in a substring of given length. So maximum number of vowel. So we have to find maximum number of the vowel in a substring of the given length. Okay. So we are given a string as and the integer k. So see the string is given and integer k is given. So we have to return the maximum number of the vowel in string of length k. So we have to find the three length substring and the maximum number of vowel which contain. Okay, the substring of length 3 having the maximum number of vowels. So 3 and 2. This means that 2 length sorry, 2 length ai maximum 2 vowel. So we have to return, and the constraint is 10 to the power 5. So we have to solve under log n or n log n. Okay, so simply a sliding window question. It's bits of bit a sliding window question. So how we solve? Let's see. Let's copy this question. Okay. Document both. Okay. Okay, in this question, maximum number of this, what we have to do simply, all this thing happen, string s is given, okay, of length k, all thing okay, return the maximum length, and the vowels are what are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U, okay, and the substring is given as A, B, okay, anything is, the substring is given, substring not string is given. So of length k, so length of k substring and maximum number of the vowels. So the first thing we have to think is vowel or not. So in make a vowel function. Okay, so in this case, what are the steps? I think that first of all we have to um, vowel function, in which we have to explain vowel function is vowel or not. Okay, after that it is a fixed sliding window question. And first of all check, um, we have to check it is vowel or not. Oh, vowel or not. So for the first k length we have to check. So for loop consisting of the int I is equal to int I is equal to I less than k. Okay, or I plus plus. Okay. mm, if what is nums of I? Yes, strings of I. S of I, if S of I is vowel, S of I we have to check. In this case, count plus plus, okay, and simply we have count plus, if S of I is count plus plus. After that, what we have to do, count plus, if S of I is equal to this one is count plus plus till this. Then we done till k, and after that for the next k, for int I is equal to k I plus plus, I less than n I plus plus, what we have to do, mm, what we have to do, we simply what we have to do simply in which mm, if this one A, B, C, E. So if it's three length, okay. So we check this one is vowel one, not vowel one, two vowel, okay. And starting from the K, okay. See if this one vowel and this one is vowel. If K is vowel, okay, 0, 1, 2. K is vowel. Then in case increment the count and if nums of nums of left is also. So if we see this one is vowel and this one is vowel. So if we see we continue because if we have to reject one and add one. So if in the case we see any consonant, then we have to remove the vowel count in this case. So mm, so how we do mm, mm, vowel thing. um, what do we have to do? Starting thing is clear. So okay, this part is clear. We have to count. Okay. After checking this, mm, in K plus, if S of I is vowel, if S of I is vowel, if S of I is vowel in this case S of I. So in this case we simply continue. I think we do not need to increment the in this case we have to count minus minus. We have also maintain the count. So count is equal to max count is equal to max of max count. Okay. So this one is not that much correct. We simply write the pseudo code. What we have to do, we in first step what we do, we have to write a vowel function. Okay. Vowel function. Okay. Vowel function. Okay. After that vowel function, after that we have to store first k number. So in which we have to count maximum number of vowel, max number of vowel in first k numbers. Okay. First k first k characters. Okay. After that we move forward for the I starting from the k to n, I less than n. Okay. And maintain a max count in which we have to return the max count of that value. Okay. And the count of the vowel. Okay. So through which we get a universal max count of that vowel. And if we see the new vowel and the starting side vowel k minus 1 is also vowel. So if we see s of k is vowel and s of k minus I minus k. So if we starting from the k, if I is vowel and I minus k minus 1. So I minus k plus 1. I think k minus 1. I minus k plus 1. Okay. I minus k plus 1 is also vowel. So in this case, we have to continue. Okay. Otherwise, we have to decrement the count. Okay. Okay. And this can, and finally we have to return the count. Okay. Max count. Okay. So max count. So these are the steps. Okay. Uh, let's see. Let's see the question. Hmm, hmm, let's try to solve this question. So here's the approach. So this one is slide window as I suggested. So let's try to write the code. Okay. For the vowel, create a boolean function for the vowel. So bool is vowel. Okay. In which simply pass the character. We simply pass a character. Okay. If written what? If written if c is equal to a or c is equal to aei, c is equal to aei, or c is equal to aio, when or c is equal to, in this case, ai, aeio u, written only these if these are thing are there. Okay. Otherwise written false thing. And in the main function, in main, what we have to do, we have to simply int n is equal to s dot size, s dot length, s dot size, s dot size Okay, guys, sorry for disturbance. So where we are, we simply we take the size. Okay. So what we need? We simply need two things: int count. Okay, and int count, and also we need int max count. Okay, max count. Okay, because every time we have to find the at the end we have to give the maximum output. Okay, first check for the first window. First check for the first window. So first window is of length of k, 0 I less than k I plus plus. Okay, so if we have to check, every time we have to check is vowel, uh, is vowel. Okay, what s of I. If s of I is equal to vowel, in this case we have to simply count plus plus. Okay, and now max count become, now let the max count become the count. Okay, and move for the and then slide the window. Okay, slide in the window. So int I is equal to k, I is equal to k, I less than n, and I plus plus. Okay, if we see, if we see the next element is a vowel, in this case we simply increment the count value. Vowel, uh, if what is vowel s of I, in this case we increment the count plus plus. Okay, if is vowel of s of, or if we check if s of I minus k is also vowel, in this in case we have to decrement the count, because we move the window, so this left element get left behind. Okay, so if I minus k is also a vowel, in this case we simply decrement the count. Okay, and simply update the count value, update the count is equal to max count comma count. Okay, return max count. Everything okay. Is vowel character c is equal to e I o u. Max count. First window is vowel, increment the count vector, update the max value. Okay, if I is equal to k less than something, vowel increment this count, decrement the count, update the max count, and finally return the max count. So let's see is it working or not, because we always maintaining the vowel. Because why this work properly, a I o I think that expression is not correct, where we leave the expression or at this place. And okay, everything going. So because we are always try to maintain the vowel count as dot size, basic mistakes. In many of the interview we have only two compilation, we have to two compilation at a time. So accepted, submit. A pretty straightforward question. All test class passes. So let's continue our session after this break. So this is a part one of this series. So in next session we do